What's going on, guys? It's me, Dreamliner Fan HC here, and today we have another model plane unboxing video for you guys. I hope you guys are excited for today's video. As always, we got this nice looking box from Final Approach Collectibles. I think as of recent, I think ever since my first purchases from Airlines International 2025, I've been buying more models from Final Approach Collectibles because of course they have a really good customer service, their shipping is fast, and overall I have like really nice experiences with them, especially for their the company's owner or the retailer's owner, which I think his name is Brandon. Brandon is amazing with customer communication. So if you're new to model collecting, it's also free shipping too. So yeah, Final Approach Collectibles, they're considered to be one of the best startup retailers of the year 2025. So really nice to be purchasing from them. I got 2 orders. I think ever since Airliners, when I started ordering online, I got the Delta 8050, the 2 retros, the American MD-80 and the PSA L1011. I was referring to the retro A321, but technically I did not got that from them because I got that from 2023. But we got this model right here. We got 2 international airlines. Well, 2 models from 1 international airline, and this is an airline I've been wanting for my collection for pretty much like years, but also wanted from my 1 for 100 collection as well. But this model, well, this airline, yeah, I have never got this airline before. I wanted something like this, but I'm overall excited to have it in my collection for my international fleet. So yeah, I'm trying to build up some international airlines because I'm potentially trying to come up with a future, like a future fictional airport that's not really monthly, but just quarterly for it'll be 4 years. But there's another model I do want to get because one of them came from a CRP from NG Models. So these are all NG Models. One of them is a NG Models point exchange model. So let's see what it is. So as I take out all these, remove the flaps like that. Yeah, there's a lot of packing paper, but we do got 1 model in there. So let me just take it out. I would prefer standing up to do these kinds of unboxings. If it was a small box, then I would have sit down, but this is a large box. But let's get started with this box right here. So as I take out the packing paper, alright, just to make sure, here we go. So coming out of the well, before that, you can see the airline already, but first I do have their business card. So thank you so much, Final Approach Collectibles, for this business card, and then you can scan this QR code right here to go to their website, and you can also type in on their website right there, finalapproachcollectibles.com. But as you can see, coming out of the packing paper, we have the NG Models 1 for 100 scale Korean Air Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner in their new livery. Really interesting airline, I gotta say. This is my first Korean Air model, but I do have another Korean Air model inside that box, which I'm gonna get into in a moment as I set this aside. So let's take a look at the other model inside, which I'm also excited as well. It's another aircraft type of this particular, well, another aircraft type to add, basically. So as I take it out, let me make sure. So this model is the one I got from NG's exchange points mall type thing, because I think they had a exchange event during the start of the month, which is August. So here it is right there. But I do want to make sure that I have nothing, no any personal information out there. Okay. Yeah, I'm just making sure. And here it is. This one is another NG Models, and that is the NG Models 1 for 100 scale Korean Air Boeing 747-8I. Looking forward to getting this model. As you can see, first 2 Korean Air models in my collection. I already have a South Korean airline already, which is Asiana, but that's a 1-200 model of an Airbus A350. But I wanted Korean Air in my collection for quite some time, and overall I'm really glad to have them for my collection to build up my international fleet. So yeah, Korean Air, they're a really interesting airline in the country of South Korea. I think they are the flag carrier of South Korea despite its name. But looking forward to having these Korean Air models, and overall they should be a nice model, nice varieties for my international collection. So of course I got the 747-8, but I also got the 7810 in the new livery. So one of them is in the old livery, which is the 748. But I think what I do want to start with first is that Korean Air 7810, since that is a recent release from NG Models. So let's get started with the Korean Air 7810. Alright, let's get started with this unboxing with the NG Models 1/400 scale Korean Air Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner in their new livery. Looking forward to having my first two Korean Air models, and why not start with this one, since of course it's a 787, it's a 787 of course, and of course me being a Dreamliner enthusiast, why not start off with this one? So, this model came out on NG's August 2025 releases, which is, well, I think it was released about a month ago as of this recording, but I do want to have a Korean Air model for quite some time. The new livery, I will say, is a controversial livery. Personally, for me, when I first saw this livery, I was like, I really didn't like it at first, but I've gotten so used to it. And honestly, it's not really like, I will say, it's not really like the best livery rebrands out there, but at least they kept the blue, which is a good thing. But the main thing on why people don't really like this livery is because they got rid of the, well, I could say it's a Pepsi logo, but this logo right here, they kind of, like, their current livery now features like a different style of the Pepsi logo, which basically is just like dark blue with nothing really significant about it. But other than that, regardless of the case, I mean, it's what it is. I think Korean Air still did a nice job, and like the meanings of their new livery explains why, because of the Asiana merger with Korean Air, so yeah. But anyway, at least I have my first Korean Air 7810 in my collection. I'll see if I can try to get a 789 because I did see those in the past. So, you got the Korean Air logo right there, Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner tiles right there. You got the CJ image of the plane. You got a faded Korean Air logo, their new Korean Air symbol, like Korean Air symbol, of course. Yeah, you can slightly see it, but you can also see some really interesting gradients. Like there's like some kind of like red gradient somewhere over there, but yeah, that's really cool. It's like a nice box design from NG Models. You got 1/400 scale collectible models like SML right there, and you got the aircraft registration Hotel Lima 8515, which is not only the first 787-10 in the Korean Air fleet to feature the new livery, but it's also the first Korean Air aircraft to be sporting the new livery. And yeah, really interesting livery again. I mean, not the best design, like not the best livery design, like rebrand livery design in the world, but hey, I mean, it's what it is. I've gotten used to it, so yeah, I still think it's a nice livery. You got the bottom of the box, top of the box, right side of the box, sorry. Top of the box and left side of the box. Here is the back side of the box right there. Same deal as the front. You got your warning hazards, made in China, Boeing licensed product, and the item number of this model is 56033. So let's get started with this unboxing. So I have not seen the full-on like look of Korean Air's new livery in model form, so I'll see how it looks like as I take her out. Ooh, it's a bit of a... Okay, so here it is. So look at very interesting right there. I see their CRP, but it's just stuck there, as you can see. The CRP is stuck to one of the flaps, but regardless of that, let's take her out, and hopefully she's not broken. But Final Approach Collectibles did make sure that the model comes in intact, and honestly, that's a really interesting... Ooh, okay, there's some kind of like interesting look on the blue, but as I take her out, wow, okay. Ooh, honestly, it actually looks really nice. Wow, that honestly looks really cool, but let me check to make sure that the model does not have any detached wings. Okay, good. Let me check for antennas. Excellent, and take a look at that. I'm seeing a little bit gloss on the livery, but overall, NG Models did a phenomenal job on the livery design and this model itself. That is honestly really cool, honestly. Yeah, well, I have nothing to like go over, but still, this is a nice model in my collection. Really nice to have my first Korean Air model. And overall, NG did a phenomenal job. Like, despite this model having gloss, at least they were still able to get the color, which I'm not sure if it does look saturated, but I will have to go into further details about this model in the next video clip. But overall, really nice model right there, and I'm really glad to have it for my international collection. And here's the NG Models 1/400 scale Korean Air Boeing 787-10 Dreamliner in their new livery. This is a nice model from NG Models. That gloss seems really interesting to talk about, but I think I'll talk about it throughout this review. But still, I think NG Models did a phenomenal job on designing this Korean Air model. So yeah, really nice to have Once again, my first Korean Air model in my collection, but we also got the 748. So let's get started with the review, as always, with the cockpit and windows right there. And you got the nose shape of the plane, you got the SkyTeam logo, L1 Boeing door, nose landing gear, and nose landing gear door containing part of the plane's registration right there, 515. You got the big Korean Air billboard titles. You also got the L2 Boeing door as well. You got your Wi-Fi dome, and then there's your top antenna, your top front antenna. There's some nice printed details on the stack ports and the pitot tubes as well, so I like that. Moving on to the middle section of the plane, you got your General Electric GEnx engines with the new Korean Air logo. I also like the details on the engines too. You also got your wings right there. This aircraft does not feature an emergency exit slide area or like an emergency exit doors. You also got the main landing gear right there as well. Now let's talk about the blue on this Korean Air model. Now, I saw some images of what this aircraft looks like in like broad daylight, and from looking at the model itself, it kind of depends on lighting situation, but I think the blue kind of feels a little bit saturated. It kind of has like a little bit of a darker blue, but I think that's coming from my lighting. It may I think it may appear different in different lighting conditions, but let's say if I take this aircraft outside on broad daylight, I think the blue would appear much more better. I don't think I have never tried that before. Maybe I will. I'll see if I can like try to do it. Maybe I'll have a picture of what it looks like, and maybe if it ends up being like the actual color than what it is on the actual aircraft, then that seems really interesting. But once again, this model is inside like artificial lighting. Like I have like studio lights right there, so the color might appear different, but we'll see how it goes. Once again, I will have to take this model outside on broad daylight where the sun is still out, just to make sure that the lighting or the Korean Air colors of the blue appears exactly what it is. I'm not that critical on color. I'm just here to like have the model itself. That's all I can really say. But still, I think Engine Models did a really interesting job on like the color of the blue. They also made it gloss too, so yeah, that is really interesting. It's been a while since I had an NG with gloss. I'm not sure if this is the first time or I had some NG models I think it's the Delta SkyTeam livery on the 737-800 that has some really interesting gloss. So yeah, it's interesting on how NG models still does that on some of their models, but yeah, it's what it is. Anyways, moving on to the top of the wing, so you can see some rudder details. You got some aileron details, fairing details as well, and some printed details, which I think it looks nice. You also got a nice look at the engine pylon and the rake wingtip, which I think NG Models did a nice job on designing the rake wingtip of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which it looks really nice from my camera. Moving on to the back area, let me just set her down like so. Okay, so moving on to the back area of the plane, you got the L3 door and the L4 door. You got your Dreamliner logo right there. You got your bulk cargo bin. You got the aircraft registration. Once again, Hotel Lima 8515, the first Korean Air aircraft to be painted in this new livery. You got the Boeing 787-10 tiles right there, or like, yeah, just the tiles in general. And then moving on to the empennage. So this is where the livery ends. Now, usually I think the old livery would end here, but then the part of the livery on the new livery will end somewhere over here, and then the back area is just all white. But yeah, here is the empennage of the plane. You got your APU, you also got the horizontal stabilizers as well. You got the South Korean flag, and the Korean Air new livery tail with the newly designed Pepsi logo, which again, like, it's I think the main reason why people didn't like this livery is because they changed the Pepsi logo to look like this, which again, like, opinions respected to whoever who don't like this livery, but I've gotten used to this livery. I did see the new Korean Air 2 times, one of them on the 748 in Atlanta and one on the Boeing 777-300ER in San Francisco. But still, I do want to try to get a 7810. Now, I have not seen the 7810 in the new livery yet. Probably there's like a handful of 7810 Korean Air new liveries that are floating around beside, like, and that, yeah, oh, what am I saying? Oh, sorry. But Hotel Lima 8515 is also included too, but there are more 7810s painted in this new livery. But yeah, I haven't seen one. I may have to go up into Seattle at some point to catch this. Anyways, moving on to the front section of the plane, I'll just leave it like this. But as you can see, you got some nice fan blade details. Well, this is just the front profile views, but you can see some fan blade details. You can see a little bit of the swirl in the middle, but yeah, it's kind of like hard to see because it's a 1/4, but I can see it on my camera. So you got some details right there. You also got some cockpit windows. There's your emergency exit hatch as well in the cockpit area. And then moving on to the starboard section of the plane. Of course, you got your R1, R2, R3, and R4 doors. You got your forward cargo bin and your aft cargo bin right there. And now let me give you guys a top profile view of the plane. So here's a top profile view, looking very nice and has some like just small details, which I think that's acceptable for NG. You also got the Hotel Lima 8515 registration on the starboard wing, on the top part of the starboard wing. And then moving on to the bottom section, as you can see, it kind of looks like it has some kind of like cream texture, like a cream color at the bottom, of the aircraft's underbelly, but maybe it might be white. But yeah, from what I'm seeing on my eyes, it kind of looks like it has that cream color. But as you can see on the bottom, you got the Korean Air logo right there on the underbelly of the aircraft. You also got your sand hole, and then you got some molded in air intakes as well. You also got details like the rat turbine door, and of course you got Hotel Lima 8515 on the aircraft's port wing. The bottom part of the port wing in that case. Anyways, moving on to the front section. So like here is the front section of the plane, looking very nice right there. And we got the aft section, or like the back area of the aircraft right there. So overall, really nice to have this Korean Air 7810. And yeah, a really interesting model. Now the reason why I got this model is I'm actually planning on making a future fictional airport that's located in the Pacific Northwest. And I know Korean Air would send in the 7810 to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. They would sometimes send in the 789, but majority of the times they would send in the 7810. And despite me living or like traveling to the Pacific Northwest every year, I do want to try to make a 1400 Pacific Northwest Airport, like a fictional Pacific Northwest Airport in the future, and this model will be featured. So yeah, I do want to try doing that because like, of course I got Roseville International Airport, which is mainly Uniteds, Hawaiians, Deltas, that's it. I do want to try featuring some of my other models in other airport updates because I really don't want to stick with one. I do want to try to advance further in like airport diversity, I'll say. So that's one of the reasons why I have this model right there. So really nice to have this for my future Pacific Northwest airport updates. And yeah, just looking forward to see when that comes out. But this model would be included during the first airport update. But still, it's really nice to have this model in my collection, and overall, great work NG models on this Korean Air 7810. Now let's move on to the Korean Air 748. And the next model on the unboxing is the NG models 1/400 scale Korean Air Boeing 747-8 lowercase I. Looking forward to having another 747-8 in my collection. I have a couple of Lufthansa examples, so why not switch things up and get a Korean Air one. Now this model came out in the April 2025 releases alongside another Korean Air 747-8, but I think it's either on the March 2025 releases, they released a Korean Air 747-8 that is the last commercial operated 748 delivered. And yeah, so technically in total, NG Models has made 3 Korean Air 747-8s in just a span of like less than a month, which I'm not sure why NG's release choices are like that, but hey, at least I did got this because like there might be some, well, advantages on NG releasing this kind of like release batch in a way. But let's get started with the review. So you got the Korean Air, the old Korean Air logo. You got the Boeing 747-8 titles. You got the CGI image of the plane. I do like this unique design. It's kind of like following a pattern. So you got like a flower over there and then some kind of like symbol. And then it kind of repeats, and it spans all throughout the entire box. So that's really cool. You got the Boeing licensed product right there, 1/400 scale collectible models, die-cast metal, and you got the aircraft registration, which is Hotel Lima 7636. Now the reason why I picked this aircraft is because I did see this exact registration at Atlanta Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport while I was departing for Charlotte. And I got a very nice picture of it. It was on my phone. I wish I got my camera out to actually get a picture of one because the angle, or like where the aircraft is located at, because I was seated on the left side of my Delta 717 flight and this was right in front of me. So I decided to get that picture, and it didn't take, because like when I caught that picture, it was just a regular Korean Air 747-8. But what I didn't know, as I look on Flight Radar 24, it was this exact registration. So therefore I ended up getting this model because I saw that exact registration. anyways, there is a bug. So okay, so there's like bugs all over the place. So I'm not sure what's going on here, but yeah, that's there. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to continue recording this or add this as some kind of like blooper, but yeah. But anyways, moving on to the bottom section. Well, this is the bottom of the box. You got the right side of the box, top of the box, and left side of the box right there. And then here is the back side of the box. Same deal as the front. You got the plane, you got the warning hazards, made in China, Boeing licensed product, and the item number in this model is 78039er. So let's get into the unboxing. So yeah, really nice to have this Korean Air 748. Again, like kind of like diversing my 747-8s, and nice to diverse my international airline fleet. It's not just like sticking with just one airline. I do want to get other, well, not, what am I saying? It's not like I get one aircraft for this particular airline. I do want to try to like diverse and get other aircrafts too. So I have the Korean Air 7810 and this Korean Air 748, and this was the model that came from this is the particular model that I ended up having a NG exchange with. So I decided to get this 747-8. It's for free. And yeah, the shipping's free, but I ended up getting the Korean Air 7810 as like, you know, like I had to pay and all that stuff. But anyways, let's get into the unboxing, and there she is. And honestly, the blue actually looks really nice. Anyways, you got this. So this is actually like the collector card of this particular aircraft, and I gotta say, it looks very nice. I have a couple of these. This is like a certificate card of the particular model itself, and I believe the CRP is right here, and it's an older CRP, not the new ones, but I do like the design of it. Can't hardly tell what year this was made, but yeah, it's a point card. Anyways, let me take her out of the cradle, like so. Whoa, I think the front part of the aircraft was like trapped on the cradle, but hopefully the plane is not broken. Wow, the color, the light blue on this, that actually looks really nice. Okay, come on. Oh, ooh, wow, that looks really cool. I think there's something up with the what is that? The silver on the fuselage. But let's check if she's intact. Making sure. Checking, and there she is, making sure we have any bottom antennas. And oh, jeez. There is some kind of like smudge, like dirt smudge. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea where that came from. Yeah, it's kind of like hard to remove, so I have no idea what happened there. Okay, well, I think that can be an easy fix, but other than that, this model looks absolutely very nice. Let me kind of like flip it over to make sure that there isn't any other stains. But yeah, I mean, like, minus that, this model actually looks really, really cool. Wow, the silver looks kind of interesting because of this lighting, but overall this looks really nice, and I think NG Models did a good job on it. So yeah, finally have a Korean Air 748 in my collection. It looks very nice. So overall, nice model here from NG Models, and yeah, I really love their 747-8 mold. And yeah, just looking at it, it just looks really nice, and overall I'm really glad to have it for my collection. And here's the NG Models 1/400 scale Korean Air Boeing 747-8i. I will say, this model is okay. I kinda have a little bit of like critique to go over this model, and apparently I'm just gonna like go straight from this off the bat, but after recording, I did not realize that this engine right here does not have the Korean Air logo. Like, come on, NG. Like, I understand that you're supposed to be like next generation, and then you have some really good printing details and all that stuff, but come on, NG. Why did you miss the Korean Air logo on, I'm guessing, is this like the number 3 engine or something, or number 4? But I checked on the production image. It's literally there. And then I have this model, and it's not there. What happened, NG? What happened with your details and all that stuff? But outside all the critical things I mentioned, let's get into the mold review. But I still think the mold does look very nice. And yeah, NG does a pretty good job on the mold. So let's get started with the review of the plane. So you got the cockpit windows right there, you got the emergency exit hatch, you got the iconic hump of over there of the 747, and that iconic nose of the 747 as well. You got some Korean titles, you got the nose landing gear and the nose landing gear door containing part of the plane's registration number 66. You also got the upper door right there, so this would be technically be the L1 boarding door, L2 boarding door, so like the lower levels. This would be the upper deck, I guess the emergency exit. But yeah, that's that. Moving on to the, well, this side, you got your top antenna as well. Do want to mention that. Moving on, you got your GNX engines, and yeah, the one I mentioned before, there is no Korean Air logo. Like, there is a Korean Air logo right there. There's no Korean Air logo on this engine, which again, like, I don't know why NG did not put that there, but I'm guessing this, like, that was a printing error if I were to take a guess. But yeah, I mean, that's my only, well, negative thing about that. Well, not to mention this weird stain, but I think I will have to take that off after like reviewing this. But you got your LC door right there, you got your back antenna right there, one of the first back antennas, and then moving on to the wings. So here are the wings right there. Overall, that's some nice detailing from engine models on the wings. I do love the fact that there's some indications of the ailerons, the rudders, the spoilers, the fairings, and all the engine pylons right there. So that's a plus point I will add for engine models, at least. And then moving on to the back area, you got your L4 door and L5 door. You got the aircraft name, the Boeing 747-8. And yeah, I think the blue, one thing I'll add about the blue, I think the blue looks really nice. And I think NG did a phenomenal job on like getting the blue right on this 747-8. And here is the silver trim, like the silver cheat line, which it's kind of interesting on how the cheat line is like that. It's some kind of like, it appears different on different lighting conditions. But overall, it's like that. Maybe it might appear much more better in broad daylight. And then moving on to the empennage of the plane, you got your APU right there. Your APU details right there looking very nice. You also got some horizontal stabilizers. I also like the fact they also add some nice rudder detail. And of course, you got the iconic Pepsi logo of the Korean Air tail. You got the aircraft registration, Hotel Lima 7636. And on the top, you got the South Korean flag, which, of course, this is the iconic Pepsi logo I'm referring to. Many people really like that logo, and including me. But overall, I think NG models also did a good job on the printing on the tail. Well, yeah. But I mean, printing on this model is not that great. I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah. And this stain too. I have no idea who put this stain there, but yeah. Some factory China errors, like all that stuff. Yeah, maybe at some point I will have to return this model. But moving on to the front section, you got some nice fan blade details on the GNX engines. You got some cockpit windows, which I think NG did improve on the cockpit window printing of the 747-8. And honestly, I think it looks much better than the previous iteration they did. So great work NG models on that at least. And then moving on to the starboard section of the aircraft, you got your R1, R2, R3, R4, and R5 doors, and the upper door on the hump. You got your forward cargo bin, and the aft cargo bin, and the bulk compartments. And as you can see, this is how it should have been NG models. You can see the Korean Air logo on the number, I'm guessing this could be the number 1 engine, and this could be the number 3 engine. I'm not really quite familiar with engine numbers on like 4 engine planes, like airplanes with more than 4 engines, more than 2 engines. But yeah, engine models, keep note on this. Like, I don't know what happened to the, well, you can see the Korean Air logo on the inner, like the Korean Air logo. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my god, NG models. Oh man. Okay, another critique right there. Another critique. Okay. Why did you place the Korean Air logo on the inner part of the engine cowling, NG? I'm sorry guys if I'm going into like critique, like kind of like getting like a little bit picky on something, but seriously, NG, this isn't really hard to do. Like, why did you place the Korean Air logo on the inner side of the winglet, well, inner side of the engine, while it should have been right there? I have no idea what happened right there, but that is literally a printing error right there. So hence why I said this model's okay because of those issues. And then, oh my god, I have no idea if this existed too, but there's also that stain on the starboard section. Ugh, okay, well, moving on. I guess we're gonna do a top review. So here's the top view of the model right there. You got the Hotel Lima 7636 registration on the starboard wing. And yeah, front details looking okay. It looks good. Moving on to the bottom section, you got some nice bottom details as well. Of course, you got the Hotel Lima 7636 on the port wing, like the bottom port wing. And I do like the fact that this model has molded in air intake, so that's good. Moving on to the front, so here's a better view of the front. Nice looking ground flexes. And then moving on to the back, here is the back view of the aircraft. If I can hold like this, there we go. So, yeah, I mean, again, this is a free model I got from NG, but I have no idea why it ended up looking like this. Yeah, I mean, like, other than that, the mold's good. Do I even have any words? But, I mean, like, the mold's good at least, but I think the printing details on this model is the problem, especially for this engine right there. I'm trying to like not good with engine numbers for more than 2 engine airplanes, but yeah, the Korean Air logo should have been right there instead on the inner part, and not to mention about those stains too. So I mean, it may have come from the factories. I don't know what's the deal there, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the model's nice in a way. I mean, like, again, like NG, just keep note on this, okay? There's a reason why I'm kind of giving some criticism on some parts that may seem off, but yeah, I do apologize. I mean, like, I do apologize if I ended up going a little too critical on this model. I'm usually not like that for my model reviews, but it just so happens that there's a printing issue and all the various like stains in there. But other than that, this model's good. This model's good, but just keep on noting engine models that you need to fix your printing details, because like there might be some problems. Again, I did check the model image on their Instagram page. The Korean Air logo was there, so I don't know what happened to this model. But other than that, I will have to get this model returned to Final Approach Collectibles, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. But other than that, that's it for this review. So let me line up all my 2 Korean Air models, and we'll conclude this video from here. So overall, these models looks very fantastic, and I'm really glad to add Korean Air to my international fleet. Now, as for the 747-8, again, it's okay, but again, that printing error is what really made this model kind of, I would say, like, drop down on points. I'm not going to complain too much about, actually, it could have been NG's problem. I don't think it was Final Approach's Collectibles' fault on this. I think it was coming from the NG Models factory itself. So, yeah, but it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Either way, this is a points redemption model, and safe to say that I don't think I will be purchasing or like redeeming points for like models in the future unless things improve, because like I've seen some collectors getting some CRP models, like free models from them, and apparently there might be some defectives on each model. Now, as for like the handling itself, it's sealed there, so pretty much the retailer does not have to touch it because it's already sealed and it's prepared for ship. I think NG Models could have looked on the model a little more before they hand it out to like the collector, for instance. But overall, at least the Korean Air 787-10 was able to, like, in a way, like, don't come with like any defectives or broken parts. So that's good for the Korean Air 7810. But overall, these models looks very fantastic, and yeah, I guess I'll have to have like some kind of like, I'll have to contact Final Approach Collectibles about this, so overall like they can handle, or they did say they're gonna have like a replacement coming in. So yeah, I don't know when it's gonna be coming, but maybe once in the future, like in a future unboxing, I will just only solo unbox the Korean Air 747-8. But overall, looking forward to using some of my Korean Air models for future airport updates, and yeah, once again, really nice to have another international airline added to my collection. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell icon so you won't miss a new video like this anytime soon. And if you want to see more of my model plane content, then you can click on that playlist, and it shows you all the videos I do, from unboxings, reviews, and a whole lot more. So that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Good night.